You have no idea how long I have waited for this moment. Hey ghouls, it's Katya, and today is an extra special video, at least for me, because we are going to be unboxing and reviewing my very first Skullector, the Corpse Bride Emily doll. Corpse Bride is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love it so much, and it's easily my favorite Tim Burton movie, so I was so excited to be able to snag Emily with the Fan Club early release, even though it was at 2 a.m. my time, but sometimes we must make sacrifices for the things we love. So without any further ado, let's get started because I am way too excited to open her today. Now, before we get into actually opening her up, we do need to take a look at the box first. I'll contain my excitement for a moment and we'll take a look at it here. We do have the updated Skullector box without the flaps anymore, which is great because from everything I saw about those online, they never close properly and don't look good ever. So I'm very glad they updated the box design. But let's take a look at the actual artwork here. So on the front, we have a close-up of Miss Emily with half her face, with Tim Burton's Corpse Bride at the top, and there is a very hard to see silhouette of Emily on the left side there with her walking through the woods, and then in the bottom there we have Monster High Skullector. This side of the box has the other half of Emily's face and another Tim Burton's Corpse Bride logo there, and I'm sure as you can tell on camera it's really shiny. I don't really know why this part of the box is so ridiculously shiny, but I guess they just thought that was a little bit more luxe and collector, so it's fine. Makes it kind of awkward for me to film, but it's okay. And on the other side here we have a full shot of Emily looking gorgeous as always. I am so excited to get her out of the box here. And on the back is where my excitement immediately dies. I don't know how many of you have seen the close-ups online of this particular part of Emily's box art, but it seems from just a cursory glance that Mattel may or may not have used AI on this particular part of the box art, which, if they did, is extremely disappointing. Which, considering the way the two skeletons look here, I would frankly be surprised if an actual artist did that. So to say that I am disappointed is an understatement, to say the least. Box design, a good box design, has always been a big part of Monster High. It has been such a big part that is partially why in-box collectors are so adamant about keeping their ghouls in box, because the boxes themselves are kind of an art piece. And this is kind of just really disappointing. Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, let's zoom in on the points of interest here, and you are free to make your own assessments of this artwork here and make your own opinions, because that is something that is very important. The main offenders here are the two skeletons. The horse, its pelvic bone seems to have been turned into something else. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks there on your own. And seems to have high heels for feet and intestines for ribs, which is very interesting. I'm not even going to mention the way the windows look. You can just assess that on your own. And then we have this lovely fellow over in the corner with a bit of a jagged spine, which is interesting. And I don't quite know what's going on with the feet, nor do I know if he's got another ankle, knee on one leg, something. There's something weird going on here, and I don't really like it. It's not good. If nothing else, I am glad that this is on the back of the box so it can face the wall and never see the light of day ever again, because I simply will not look at this part of the box when I am displaying Emily. So at the very least, we have that going for us. But let's move on to the rest of the box because we haven't actually opened it here. So let's take a look. And here we are, the back of the box with the outer portions moved out. We have our lovely little description on the back here, which is always fun for me. I enjoy the interpretation that the Monster High Skullectors give to their characters here, so this is always an enjoyable part for me to read online because I've never had one of these, so it's kind of cool to see it in person. Here is a closer look at Emily's description here. If you would like to read it, feel free to pause. Now let's flip over to the other side and unveil the undead bride herself, shall we? And there she is, the corpse bride herself, looking gorgeous in my opinion. I remember back when the original pictures of Emily leaked, and I felt like I was the only one that liked her because everyone was so critical of her dress, her entire look, just everything about her. The only thing people liked seemed to be her face, and even then some people didn't like that. And yet a ton of people now have her and are still trying to obtain her when they weren't able to get her, and I'm sitting here just astounded. Y'all were complaining, and yet now you're complaining that you can't have her? Crazy. I don't understand. But let's not get into that. Let's get into the actual ghoul herself. Let's take a closer look at her in the box once I get this pesky plastic sleeve removed, because it really does not like my camera. And with that, plastic is gone, and now we can see that Emily's background is the final church scene, which I think is very, very appropriate. Emily looks like she's walking down the aisle, as she did in the movie, of course. I believe her box is quite a nice display piece as long as you don't look at the back, but as I am an out-of-box collector, I would like to free her, so let's get her out of the box, shall we? Here she is, all out of the box. Normally I do like to show my unboxings, but this one was such a surgical process that really was just a difficult time to film and really didn't look good when I watched the footage back, so I ended up deciding not to include that. Hope you're okay with it, but here she is, and she's looking gorgeous, as I expected, of course. And I have to say, the material of her dress is impressively soft. So is her veil. They are like so soft. Like, it doesn't look like, especially this this front material doesn't look like it would be soft, but it really is. Oh dear, she's wobbling. It's fine. She does have a saddle stand, as do many Skullectors, and hers is special in that it has some little leg attachments in order to hold her, but unfortunately I don't know if it's just mine, but she does kind of float off of the stand a teeny tiny bit, so she's not exactly the most stable, but it's okay. She's doing her best. But she is honestly really gorgeous. I do like this interpretation of her dress. I know it's not movie accurate, I do understand, but I like that it's just a Monster High version of Emily. I enjoy it, honestly. But of course, what I enjoy most of all when I do these reviews is looking at all the individual pieces, and yes, I will be doing that for a Skullector. So let's get into that, shall we? We'll start with Emily's body sculpt, as it is incredibly unique. She has one entire skeleton arm and skeleton leg, plus the exposed skeletal ribs, which is extremely cool. I appreciate that they did that for her, considering that is a big part of her character design. The one thing I do wish they had done is actually given her some 3D teeth. I think the way they did the skull inside the head of one of the Off-White dolls, they could have done something a little bit similar for Emily, not the full skull, but just the teeth, and had a little cutout in the head in order to show that. I think that would have been much better than what they did, but I do still enjoy the rest of it, so the teeth just being printed on is still forgivable considering we do have the rest of the body, and it is quite impressive in my opinion. I do enjoy it very, very much. There are just so many lovely details here. And I am extremely happy to report and extremely surprised at the fact that Emily's non-skeleton arm has the upgraded arm peg, which is very interesting to me. I didn't expect that, but I am pleasantly surprised by it. For her face, she is absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. They captured her movie expression really well. Her eyes are really big, while the irises and the pupils are really tiny, really evoking that original art style. Her eyeshadow is a mix of different shades of purple that blend together really well, and of course she has those signature arched eyebrows, which are gorgeous, and she has the mauve lip as well that I really adore on her, and of course you see the teeth peeking out on her cheek, which again I do wish was a bit of a 3D effect, but it is okay. We did get a nice look here nonetheless, so I can't complain too much. I think her face sculpt is also really gorgeous. I do think they gave her a tiny bit more of a nose than she originally had in the movie, but I still think that the sculpt suits her really, really well, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And of course, her hair is this gorgeous mix of blue saran, and it is so soft to the touch and so long, so ample opportunities for styling if you so choose. But now that we've taken a look at her body sculpt, let's take a look at all of her individual clothing pieces, shall we? Starting with her veil, it is so soft, made of this sheer white material, and it is attached to her black headpiece that is accentuated with blue painted butterflies. I do wish there was a teeny bit more painted detail there, but at the same time, I almost think it might have overpowered the look, so perhaps it is perfect just the way it is. Near the bottom of the veil, it is all in tatters, of course, from years of being in the grave, but still gorgeous. Continuing with accessories, we have Emily's belt, which is made of a bunch of vines and strings of black pearls with, of course, some butterflies mixed in with the large blue butterfly in the center, tying it all together. It's made of this strange, slightly sticky feeling rubbery material. It's a little odd to the touch, but it does look pretty decent, I would say. It has almost a slight shimmer to it in person. I don't know quite how well that comes across on camera, but it does have that slight shine to it. Emily's blue skin also seems to have some very slight glitter embedded within it, which is an interesting touch, I will say. It's not overly overpowering or anything like that, it's just a little noticeable whenever she catches the light in just the right way. It adds a very ethereal touch to her. Next, of course, we have Emily wearing Victor's ring, which the doll does come wearing the ring on her middle finger. A lot of people question why that is. I'm pretty sure that's just because it is more likely to stay on that way, but if you would like to move it to her ring finger like I did, you are very capable of doing so. It is not glued on, very easy to do, but it is just a simple gold band, but it really doesn't need to be any more than that. Next we have Maggot, aka Emily's earrings, which I think is such a cute idea and such a cute way of including another character, because of course he does pop up in Emily's head throughout the movie, so he is made up of her two earrings, which I think is great. However, I am a little disappointed with his coloring. He is a little bit more bright radioactive green than the more muted, less shiny, he's a bit more matte in the stock photos, and I think he looked a lot better. He also looked like his lips were supposed to be painted a dark green, and they don't seem to be. I am quite displeased with that lack of detail, considering this doll did cost me 135 Canadian dollars, and that is not a small amount of money to pay for a doll, believe it or not. Much as I wish I were wealthy and could just toss that much money on a doll without having to think about it, that is simply not true. I did have to save up in order to afford her, and I do think that such things should be considered when pricing dolls so very high. But still, they are cute earrings. I just think they could have been a teeny tiny little bit better. Next we have her sheer blue armband and sock. I saw quite a few people complaining about these in the design, but I thought they were kind of cute accessories, honestly. I think they're kind of nice. So they are both on her skeletal limbs. We've got the blue armband just covering Emily's forearm there, which between the two, I will say this one is probably the most out of place, but even then, I still think it looks pretty nice. And then the sock on the skeletal foot. I thought mine was a little just squished down for some reason, and I tried to smooth it out, but it is sewn that way to look a bit crumpled and ruffled a bit, which is fine. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of a Skullector doll, object heels. I mean shoes! And yes, Emily does have object heels, which has been a point of contention within the Monster High community for a while. A lot of people are quite tired of the object heels, which I understand. I myself have always been a fan of object heels when they are also aesthetically pleasing. My favorite example is the Wednesday TV show dolls. I have both the Poor Wednesday and Enid, and I love Enid shoes, and I hate Wednesdays. I think Wednesdays are awful. They're ugly. The cello and scorpion heel are just horrifically asymmetrical and bad, while Enids are just two different stuffed animals, but they're still symmetrical, they're cute, they're colorful, they fit. You see what I'm saying? Now that we've got that little rant out of the way, let's actually discuss Emily's shoes. So Emily has these kind of almost navy blue, same color as the belt and headpiece shoes. They have these pearl detailings on the ankle and then some drip detailing as well. The left shoe has a rose, which is super cute. And for the heels, the left shoe has the branches from the tree where Victor and Emily first meet, which is really cute. And the right heel has Scraps, the dog, which, I mean, I'd prefer they be symmetrical, but honestly, this is not the worst Skullector object heels we've ever seen. Wednesday from the 2-pack. Anyway. I don't think it's the worst they could have done, but I mean, I'd rather have Scraps as an accessory, honestly, but I also understand why he's not there because I don't really know where you'd put him in the box for him to look good, but it's okay. It's not the worst I've seen, and it's subtle enough where if you position her shoes in the right way, you won't see it. So if it really does bother you, you can always pose her in a way where you will not be able to see them, and it's fine, they'll just look like normal shoes. And really, that is optimal, because if they were sticking out in an awkward way, then that would really make this quite unfortunate. But overall, I do like her shoes. I think they're nice. Scraps is kind of silly, but it's Skullector object heels. What do we expect at this point? And now we come to the main event, Emily's wedding dress. It is definitely not a movie-accurate interpretation of her dress, but I wasn't exactly expecting it to be, so I'm perfectly fine with it. It is a layered dress. It has purple and blue layers of tulle underneath with a white lace layer on top, which has spiderweb detail all throughout, and of course a cutout for her ribs. And it has some blue detailing at the top with clear straps to hold the dress up. Honestly, this is one of the softest dresses I have felt on a doll in a long time. If nothing else, great sensory experience. Love that. Although genuinely, I do love the way this dress looks. It may be a little plain without the accessories, but we are looking at all the pieces individually, so this is on purpose. But I really do like this interpretation of Emily's dress. I think it's interesting. I think it gives it a little Monster High twist. And I really do think it suits her, honestly, but let me know your thoughts if you agree, if you disagree, because I know a lot of people hated this dress for her, and even those who bought her, a lot of them just put her into a custom dress right away. I'd love to know your thoughts on why this just isn't your thing. If it is your thing, let me know. I'm always very curious to hear your opinions. Now that we've taken a look at all her details though, let's get her dressed again and get into my final thoughts, shall we? Here she is, the haunting bride herself, all dressed up and ready to go once again. Honestly, I am super happy with this doll, even with my extremely minor complaints, mostly being with earrings not being quite the right color and quite painted to my liking, and with obviously the use of AI on the box art, which is honestly just unacceptable. Box design artists, I'm sure there's a proper term for their job title, and I apologize for getting it wrong. They are there for a reason. This is a form of art, and I do think it should treat it as such, especially when we are being charged such prices for these things. And I do think that collector dolls and fashion dolls in general are a form of art, and I think that their packaging and boxes are also part of that expression of art, so I think it should reflect that. But as for the doll herself, I am just ecstatic to have her in my collection, truly. I'm so happy she's my first Skullector. I adore Corpse Bride. I love Emily. She's just one of my favorite fictional characters in general. I think she's just wonderful, and I really love this Monster High spin on her design. I think she's just gorgeous. I already know she's going to be an absolute jewel in my collection. Thank you all so much for watching. This video was super special to me, and I am really happy that I got to share my first Skullector experience with you all, so thank you all so much for sticking around. If you liked the video, please give it a like, it really helps me out. And if you'd like to see more doll content, please subscribe. I'd love to see you around. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see all you ghouls in the next video.